In this video, I want to talk about leaving your comfort zone and when you should or shouldn't do that. I specifically want to talk about how your comfort zone is not always a bad thing, and that in certain situations it's better to not leave your comfort zone. And I'll explain to you why that can be better for personal growth, but in certain circumstances. So I want to point at this model that's called the comfort stretch panic model. And it talks about the fact that there are different kind of zones, and you have like a circle and you can be in your comfort zone, and then you can leave it to go to the stretch zone or to go to the panic zone. And the stretch zone means that you leave your comfort zone somewhat. For example, you do something that's mildly challenging to you, that you don't really want to do, but that's also not something that you have a horrible fear about or something. You leave your comfort zone somewhat. The panic zone or stress zone, whatever you want to call it, can come when you go too far out of your comfort zone. So really, the thing that this is about, what it depends on, is how far do you go out of your comfort zone. And that's something that really matters when you're focused on growing, on personal growth. It's actually, the idea is that you should stay in your stretch zone as much as possible. And you shouldn't stay in your comfort zone, but you also shouldn't go to your panic zone, because then you will block growth. The thing is, when you go too far, it might cause you a lot of stress. When you experience a lot of stress and a lot of fear, your body kind of goes into a fight or flight mode. And in that mode, you don't have any space to learn, to grow anymore, because you're just focused on survival, basically. This stress might even damage you. It might be bad for your mental health, or it might be bad for your energy levels. You know, it might not be very good for your body either. And it might even demotivate you, because when you're very scared and very stressed, you might not get the results that you wanted. And that might demotivate you from trying. So that's why I think it's important to try to grow or try to leave your comfort zone in small steps. So I want to give an example to illustrate this. For example, if you want to learn public speaking, for example, you are really nervous about it. You can't even really feel calm or confident when you're talking to one person. And you decide something like, my goal is to speak in front of a huge audience of like 500 people. And then you decide to just do that immediately, you know. But then when you actually do that and you stand there with an audience of 500 people and you were already nervous for one person, then what could happen, of course, is that you're so overwhelmed by the situation that you become kind of paralyzed by your fear, and you start doing worse, and you start kind of getting in that fight or flight mode, because you're like, this is overwhelming, I don't know what to do. And then you will kind of perform less, and you might start stumbling over your words. You might start just not really presenting very well. Well, you won't really have learned anything, because you didn't really get to practice, because you were just paralyzed. And it might also demotivate you, because you might be like, well, I'm clearly not doing this again because it was a bad experience. So instead, if you were to stay in your stretch zone and not in the panic zone, you might say something like, well, first I'm going to try to present to a group of 5 people that I know, or something like that. And then I'm going to practice a lot. And once I feel comfortable presenting for them and like totally fine with it, I will move on to a bigger group, something like that. And then you're looking at what is my stretch zone, what more can I handle? And then it might not go wrong and you might start feeling comfortable with that. And that's expanding your comfort zone. So let's look at the underlying model or law. So this comfort stretch panic model is based on a certain law called, I'm gonna butcher the name, but Yerkes-Dodson law. And I will show you the image too in the video, which is a bell-shaped curve, and it's about your performance according to the pressure you're receiving. So the idea is that people have the highest performance at a moderate level of pressure, not at a high level of pressure, and also not at a very low level of pressure. So the low level of pressure is your comfort zone. The high level of pressure is your panic zone. And the moderate level of pressure is your stretch zone, where you're asked, I can't even pronounce this word, you're asked to learn, because it's challenging. Your stretch zone, it's challenging. You're asked to learn. But your panic zone is too challenging. You cannot handle it. You freeze. Your fear paralyzes you. The stress paralyzes you, and you don't perform. Yeah, so with moderate pressure, you're alert, you're learning. And with no pressure, in your comfort zone, you're not really changing, you're not really growing, you're just there, your comfort zone stays the same. But when you as the word says, when you go into your stretch zone, you can stretch your comfort zone. And that's just a really powerful idea or tool. The idea is to know yourself and to know, or to kind of look at what is, in terms of this goal of mine or whatever, what is my stretch zone, what is my comfort zone, and what goes too far. The idea is when it really goes too far for you, you might want to consider that it can be stressful too, and that it costs energy. It costs energy to get out of your comfort zone. You can get the reward for it, but it still costs energy. And that is the good part of your comfort zone. About your comfort zone is, whenever you're in that comfort zone, I notice I keep getting way too close to the camera, but whenever I think subconsciously I think that if I am sitting like this, you cannot hear me, but maybe you can. I don't know. What was I saying? Oh no, now I lost it. Oh no, what did I say? So the good thing about your comfort zone is that you're not really expending a lot of energy, because there's not a challenge. You can use your comfort zone to rest. I wouldn't suggest staying in it forever, because then you don't grow, but you can use it to rest, because it means that you're not expending a lot of energy. And that's the good thing about your comfort zone. That's why I would suggest, a kind of focused way of getting out of your comfort zone, not randomly, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever for the challenge, but realize that can be unhealthy too. And rather than that, just look at, what do you want to achieve? What are your goals? And what small steps can I take out of my comfort zone in order to reach that goal in the end? So what's the first step I'm going to take that I'm not really comfortable with, that I don't really like, but I'm going to do it to get to that goal, for example. For example, to get to that goal of talking to 500 people, I have to get over that hurdle of talking to 10 people that I don't know or something, even though I didn't like it. but I want to get to that goal. And then what small steps can I take? And of course, these goals can be anything. So I think that's the main thing about what I wanted to say about this model. How do we properly end a video? I don't know. I hope you found it useful. If you have any comments or questions, comment down below in the comment section. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.